Since 2012, the Football Manager match engine has struggled to handle tactics that use three strikers. Since Hazard's match engine exploited to recent Kaka Can't Dance 4-3-3 narrow tactic, three forwards are a defensive nightmare in Football Manager. In today's video, we'll look at three overpowered narrow 4-3-3 tactics, and hopefully by the end of this video, we'll have a fair knowledge on how to go about creating aggressive 4-3-3 tactics and how to dominate the match engine. Now to the narrow tactic. The first tactic that we're looking at here is a Chinese 4-3-3, or it's Korean rather, the inscription is in Korean. There are loads of attacking players, complete wing-backs, central midfielders on attack, two false nines as well, and I've noticed that sort of works well in Football Manager 2023. There's a roaming playmaker on support and an advanced forward on attack as well. For team instructions, there aren't that many team instructions for this tactic. It's quite normal, something that I would rather use if I'm going on to select team instructions for any tactic. In possession, there's extremely high tempo, but the passing directness is standard, so it's influenced by the team's mentality. That's why it's slightly shorter, but it's kind of balanced. So play out of defense, walk the ball into the box, and low crosses. Yeah, looking at the in transition phase, counter and counter press, the goalkeeper rolling it out, and then you do have the out of possession instructions, the normal high press, but there's a standard defensive line, and preferential goalkeeper distribution with three strikers. That is going to obviously work very well in their favor. So that's basically how this tactic is set up. The team fluidity is quite structured, and looking at the internal team instructions, okay, there are internal team instructions. Both complete wing backs do have them, ball playing defenders do have them as well. He opts for a super keeper on support, but there's a roaming playmaker. He also has internal instructions. The central midfielders on attack also have internal instructions. Basically everybody has internal instructions. So that's kind of how the tactic is set up. The second tactic that we're looking at is a 4-3-3. This time not so narrow, but in the sense it's a narrow 4-3-3 because you have inside forwards on support duty, and both inside forwards have been asked to sit narrower. So they're essentially acting as a narrow front three with the central or the complete forward on attack duty. And then the central midfielder on automatic duty with the box-to-box midfielder. There are two wing-backs on automatic, so a lot of automatic duties. And if you're looking to use a lower league team, or let me say one of the top teams, and you don't want that many specific instructions for your team, this looks like a good fit for you. Wing-back, wide centre-backs on defend duty, and then the ball-playing defender on defend duty. That's kind of how the tactic is set up. So as opposed to lower league teams, you can use it for the top lower league teams, not the teams that are near the bottom of the lower league. So you can use it for those teams that are predicted to get promoted, something like that. If you're looking for that kind of tactic, this attacking 4-3-3 could work well for you. And then there's more instructions, more team instructions in this one. This is their in possession instructions, slightly higher tempo, same passing directness, kind of standard. So apparently that sort of works well this year. Play out of defense, run at defense. Low crosses is still a thing. And then the goalkeeper this time in transition has been instructed to throw it long to the centre back. So I'm guessing that there's a high defensive line. Counter press and counter also selected as well. And then high press this time, not a standard defensive line, higher defensive line with a high press. So everybody's up in the opposition's territory, trying to win that ball back as quickly as possible. Get stuck in is also an instruction here. And the general mentality for this one is attacking. I kind of like the shape of this one. The third tactic that we're looking at is one that's actually special to me from Football Manager 2022. This is the Zep Guardiola 4-3-3. It's quite narrow, and then it opts for two false nines on support and a pressing forward as opposed to the complete forward that we saw before. So a pressing forward on attack duty, two false nines. Everybody's going to be responsible for pressing the opposition's defense with this tactic. What I like about this tactic is that there are no internal instructions. I know the original tactic probably did have internal instructions, but when I went on to recreate the tactic, I went on to leave it blank with no internal player instructions whatsoever. And the tactic went on to still dominate every single league that I went on to test it with. And even with Atletico Madrid, I went on to have good results with this Guardiola tactic. The video to this tactic is going to be in the description down below, so you can check it out and see that video for yourself from FM23. The team instructions for this tactic, general mentality is attacking. While they're in possession, there's a shorter passing directness and then the standard tempo. Expressive, and then with the crossing is set to mixed, and then walk the ball into the box instruction. And when your team is in transition, they've been asked to counter press and to counter. Goalkeeper has been instructed to distribute it quickly to the centre backs and to the full backs. Although we do not have full backs, your complete wing backs are obviously going to find a way to get closer to the goalkeeper, and since the defensive line is so high, the goalkeeper will easily find a way to throw that ball to the complete wing backs that are on either flank. If not, they're going to find the central defenders. And then you can see much higher line of engagement, higher press, higher line of engagement, much higher defensive line. That way the goalkeeper is a lot closer to the central or to the complete wing backs here on the left and on the right, so he can actually fling the ball to them. And then you have the get stuck in instruction and prevent short goalkeeper distribution as well. And then with a much more or relentless, much more often trigger press. So that's basically how the Pep Guardiola tactic is set up. You can go on to replicate these shapes as you've seen from this 4-3-3 tactics and see how well they work out for you when you go about creating your 4-3-3. In this 4-3-3, you can have that there, or you can see that there's a halfback here on defend duty. Essentially, he is acting like a third centre back. So the halfback and two ball playing defenders all high up act like a blanket to kind of protect your defense, try and protect the goalkeeper. And then the complete wing backs are going to be all the way high up in this region here. Complete wing backs on attack duty. They will be responsible for offering the width, and then your false nines are going to try to link up with the midfield. That's the Mezzala on the attack, and then the advanced playmaker on the support duty as well. Those two false nines are going to drop into the number 10 role, try and link up with the midfielders, and then chances for all the other players that are getting into attacking positions. I decided to test out one of these tactics. That's the 4-3-3 Korean tactic with a few teams from Romania and Serbia. The teams that I tested out this tactic with was FCSB, that's former Steaua Bucuresti, Universitatea Craiova, Kolubara, and Partizan. So these are the results that I had. Starting with Kolubara right now, we're going to look at the Serbian Super League. This is the final phase, so obviously we're going to need to go to the table preliminary phase. This is the entire table. And then Partizan ended up winning the league, although they're sitting in the third position as at the preliminary phase. But looking at the season preview now, Kolubara are meant to finish in 11th place, and then Partizan are supposed to finish in second place. By the final phase, Partizan went on to win the league, lost only 4 times in the season, and then the Kolubara, by all means, went on to lose 13 times. That's a lot, but they scored 90 goals. And then looking at the entire league, Kolubara went on to have a 90-goal season in the league. Skirvina's the best that scored highest amount of goals, but Partizan and Kolubara had 90 and 89 goals respectively. Kolubara actually scored more goals than Partizan, even though Partizan went on to win the league. So that's how this tactic worked out for a few teams in Serbia. So I've wrapped my brain around the Serbian league as to how the thing is actually designed, or what the Serbian league is all about. And it turns out the season isn't yet over, but Universitatea Craiova are currently sitting in first place, while FCSB are already champions because there's a final preliminary championship phase, playoffs, semi-finals, and finals. There is indeed a final phase, and then FCSB went on to win that competition in the championship playoffs phase. That's finally we've found our way to the final decision of who went on to win the league. And without any further ado, they got knocked out from the league path in the Europa Conference League, but in the league position they went on to score 100 goals in their division, and Universitatea Craiova had 83 goals in total. Looking at the season preview, they're the teams that are supposed to finish in second and third place, so they did quite well with this tactic. I'm going to attach a link in the description down below so you can download the tactic for yourself and see how it works out for you on all the other tactics that I've also gone on to review in this top 3 narrow front 3 tactics in Football Manager 2023. I'm going to attach the link in the description so you can download this tactics for yourself and see how it goes. I'll catch you guys with more Football Manager tactics like this. I go on to test out tactics for FM 2023 here on DarkHorse FM. So if you want to check out more Football Manager tactics, remember to hit the subscribe button so you can get notified when new tactics videos do come out. Remember to leave a like for the video if you found this interesting, and I'll see you in the next video.